After much finagling, we finally got the engine out. Once we had the engine out, we were able to start checking it over, taking a look at it. We got the transmission off. We were able to take a better look at the engine bay, and we were able to get the engine up on an engine stand. Once the engine is on the engine stand, we can actually begin pulling it apart. Got the intake manifold off. We got all the accessories off, and then we got the valve cover off, and we could start taking a look inside of this 300,000 plus mile Honda B20A. All things considered, it was in really good condition. Again, this is going to be a low buck rebuild, so we've got to go through and check all the machine work on everything and see what we've got to do to get this thing back up to running order. We had 2 cylinders that were low on compression. We had no other problems other than those 2 on low compression, so let's get to it and see what we can do.
Alright, so of course everybody's got purple power in the garage. We tracked down this mean green. Keith actually was looking at some reviews and said this stuff's supposed to be really good.
It's been sitting in this 5-gallon bucket of simple green, mean green, super strength. That stuff. It's been sitting here for about 5 minutes. You get a good idea. You can see all this just nastiness in there. This is after having come out of sitting in kerosene. Okay, so most of the big nastiness got washed away. You see, it's got all this discoloration. It's still got a lot more in here. We just set this in here. We haven't scrubbed or done anything like that yet. Just give you an idea of what simple green can do. Mean green can do.
Approximately 5 minutes.
About 5 minutes in there. See, it hasn't gotten all this stuff out yet, but you see, I can just run my hand over it. Really. I mean, give me this little brush here. I'm just going to agitate this a little. See, it's just cleaning this aluminum like nobody's business. And all I'm going to do is just kind of agitate the big heavy stuff here. I'm going to sit right back in there. I don't like to work hard. I like to sit around and eat cake. Cake.
Now, disclaimer. As much as we have been highly impressed by this stuff on all our aluminum engine parts so far, it does say
It's probably eaten the very topmost layer of aluminum off of it. But for right now, I'm really impressed with how this stuff's clean.
But if nothing else, like you would with all detergents, purple power, and everything else, just thoroughly rinse and make sure you've got all your cleaning solution off, and it should be good to go.
I'm blown away at how fast this stuff cleans. This is awesome. This is thoroughly freaking awesome.
What we found so far, actually, is the purple power does a great job of taking oil-based stuff down, but carbon-based, that mean green was tearing it up. When we were cleaning off the heads, we had a really good bout of that actually cleaning all the nastiness out from inside of there really well. So as you can see here, we have rigged up ourselves a little holding block of wood. We're going to let these pistons soak, the heads of the pistons soak. And you can already see, look at this one. I mean, look at these, dude. You can just see the blackness coming out of it. This one in particular, man, look at this. It's just dark nastiness. And that's just straight mean green. It has not at all been diluted in any way. It's just concentrated in there.
Just a demonstration here of the mean green. This has only been 10, maybe 15 minutes of soaking. Yeah. Let me just go ahead and take a look at this. It's going to be brand new freaking pistons when we're done here. This is ridiculous. We're definitely getting more of this. And a 5-gallon bucket. I'm going to pick up 5 gallons of this, just pour it into a 5-gallon bucket and start dropping stuff in it to clean. Cleaning the valves down here with a 6-inch brass wire wheel. Starting with the exhaust valve. Looks good. Cleans all that carbon right off there, just as an example. That's a pretty good one. But you can take like this one. This one's pretty heavily carboned up.
Here, give me that one. I'll clean it off and show them what it looks like when it's clean.
Alright.
Put it right back in order.
Yeah.
we got most of the shaft all the way clean. There's just a little bit more to get on the head surface, and this one's the worst of the bunch.
Brass wire wheel taking stuff right off. Why is this right next to it? Did you do that?
It's been there. It probably vibrated its way over there.
Yeah.
Biggest thing is just do little bits. Make sure you're only wearing off the carbon. You don't want to damage your valves at all.
Well, the brass is really too soft for you to be able to easily damage the hardened steel.
Still take your time doing it.
Yeah, take your time doing it. Do it right. Anything worth doing is worth doing right.
It's completely
You got the backside too?
Yeah.
Look at that!
Yeah, like a brand new. Well, not quite new, but.
No, and then when we grind these valves back in, so I'll let you go ahead and finish these guys out. Then we'll do the intakes. Got a good old granite block. Gonna test make sure these valves are actually straight and true. Here, let me get one a little zoomed in on there. Go ahead. You can see that's rolling nice and true. Good. Uh-oh. Let me zoom in on this. Do it one more time. See the wobble?
It's got a slight bend in the rod.
Mm-hmm. I'll be replacing that one.
You can kind of see it where it's got a spot where it doesn't want to roll, and then it'll just kind of go over that hump.
Yep. Alright.
So this one, it needs to be replaced.
That's an intake valve. So we're going to keep working at these. We'll go ahead and test the rest of these valves and find out how many are good, how many are bad, make sure they're straight. They all tested within spec. We already measured them out. They're all sitting around, was it 6.5455 stem diameter. So they're all within spec. 6.5 or 6.52 was the service limit, so we're good there. We'll go ahead and finish testing for straightness and continue working on the head. Alright, so we're ready to start grinding the valves here. We got some metal grinding compound. Comes in coarse and fine grade. We're going to use it for bedding the valves in and making sure that they seal very, as well as we can get them to do. So, intakes over here, exhaust over here. Now we've got our valves. What we're going to do is grab a blue, clean shop towel. A couple of them, just bring the whole roll. Then open up our metal grinding compound. Start off with the coarse, we'll open it. Break it open. Alright. Cap that back off. Start with our first valve here. We're going to take the springs and all off. And we got a couple things that we need to check for here. First, we're going to go ahead and wipe. We've had these, sitting in WD-40 to make sure they don't get rusty or anything like that after cleaning them. So we'll wipe all that down. The major things you want to do when you're kind of refurbishing on a budget like this, want to make sure we check the tops of the valves, make sure they're not mushroomed up, make sure they're nice and flat, make sure there's no burrs on them or anything like that. This feels pretty good. You want to check, actually, how you can check to make sure your valve seats and all are still in relatively good condition. If you notice, if I can get the camera to focus here for you, if you notice there's a little darker ring right above, if you notice there's a darker ring right on the top of this, that's good. Had it been shiny metal all the way up over this, that would mean that this valve had actually gone, or all the way down even, it would mean that this valve had actually pretty much worn its way through the seat. This valve does look like it's in pretty good condition, so what we're going to do is take a little bit, honestly, I don't even know if we need the coarse for this. We might just do the fine. I'll do the coarse just to show you guys how to kind of start it in, and then we'll finish it off with the fine grit. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to slide the valve in. First thing I usually do is I'll take the valve and I'll slide her in. And I just want to make sure that I can move through that guide nice and smooth. Make sure that there's no gunk or anything left in that guide. We'll take a little bit of the grinding compound. You just want to dab you a little bit. You don't have to be heavy with it. A little bit goes a ways. Dab it around this entire piece. This thing's like badly trying to throw as much of it out as it can. Cap that back off. take your valve, don't touch the grinding compound. And then what you're going to take, one of these valve grinding lapping tools, push it down on there. And to start with, it's not going to want to move around much. Because it's like, I'm not interested. So you may have to actually just take it and kind of try to wiggle it back and forth. Get up underneath there. There you go. See how I lift it slightly? And I start grinding it.
I might use a smaller one.
Try a small one. These usually come in a set. It's because the top's too damn slippery. I probably should have degreased them. So what I'm doing is I'm pushing up slightly from the bottom here. Come on. See, as you grind it clean, it'll ride a little smoother. Stay stuck on it. There you go. And you can hear how it doesn't sound as gritty. Not getting a very good suction of that. I really need to get that. I think when we do the next one, we'll make sure we go ahead and degrease it. Hit it with some brake cleaner. Get all the WD-40 completely off of it. And you don't have to. Once you actually get this, the only reason I'm pushing down is to try to get this thing to grip. Once it's gripped, you don't have to push down on it. You can just spin it and let the valve grinding compound do its thing. Alright, you can definitely hear that. That's much, much better. So we'll slide this up out. We'll take clean our valve grinding compound off.
Now, is that course grade about the same as the one you used before? That was the single stage?
Just a second. It's a little heavier grit. It's just a little bit heavier.
So hopefully the fine grade will be a little bit finer.
Yeah, it should be. Set that over here. I'll clean all this out of here. And what we've done here is we've made a much better mating surface. So this guy will seal much better in there. Now what we're going to do to finish this off is, now that we've done it with the coarse grit, we'll go ahead and get the fine grit out. Same deal, we'll open up the fine grit. Dab it on. Whereas the other one was screaming to come out, this one's not. There we go. Don't need a whole ton on there. And then don't set this down on there, with the valve grinding compound, because you don't want to get grinding compound all over your deck and everything. Slide that in place. See what this feels like. Ooh, yeah, this is super fine. This is like barely even a paste on there. That's nice. Same deal, get your suction on there. Would you kindly stay? You know what? Grab me some brake cleaner. I'm just going to wipe this down with brake cleaner, see if I can't get a better freaking hold on it.
We both looked at it going, we know what's about to happen, but stare into it.
We had to.
God.
Alright, let's see if I can actually get a freaking hold on this thing now.
They're old, man. I've had those things for years. Probably what it is. They're just old. Might have to get a new set of them. What are they, like $10? And then they would try to blame the tool.
Well, the tool was the problem. Because the dude was a tool.
Oh, but I'm bummed.
Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum.
That's McDonald's.
Shut up.
Okay.
Alright, so once you get through grinding that in, or, discussing McDonald's,
whatever you might be doing. Oh, look at that though. See, that's just fresh cut metal. Oh, it's beautiful. If you can find the hole, shut up. Slides in nice and neat. Now we haven't put any of the two ways of doing this. You can either go ahead and basically put all the seals in. I usually
Grind them all first, then put the seals in. Just keep them in order.
That's all. We're now going to do all the valves. Those two are done.
Yeah.
First two. You're start off at number 3 on that side. Hang on.
These are
let's
done
demonstrate.
now.
Let's demonstrate.
All done.
And notice how they all just drop right back in there, nice and smooth.
We're done here now, so
Yeah, now
we could actually go grill some steaks.
Which
Or
steak.
steak.